Hi, my name is Adriana Gonzalez, and I'm an SI tutor sponsored by the Office of Student Success. Currently, I tutor 2 classes, Children with Special Needs and Educational Systems. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about children with special needs. There is a major grade presentation in that class that I help a lot of my students with. And this presentation is just going to review a little bit of how to create a well-researched presentation. Okay, the very first thing I ask my students to do is to create an outline. It is required by the professor, and it's very important because it helps students organize their thoughts and make sure that they include all the requirements necessary for this presentation. So within their outline, they would of course have an introduction, a topics of discussion, which is really neat because a topics of discussion slide will actually help the viewer know in advance what it is that they're going to be listening for. Some other things like the federal and state description, unique characteristics are also mentioned with this presentation, as well as assistive technologies and children's books, including a character with autism. And that's a really neat resource to go ahead and research early on within your degree program, because it helps us to find resources that we can bring in to our classroom and incorporate with our students who have disabilities and even who don't have disabilities, but it'll help them understand the disabilities categories. Moving along, the next thing I tell my students to do is to research and to begin very early on in the semester. And the first 2 places that I ask them to look, and it's something they already have in their backpack, is their textbook. And because it contains a table of contents as well as an index, and those 2 places will even give you page numbers for the subjects that you're researching. Another really good credible resource is the Library Online Database. This is a really neat database only because our librarian has researched it herself and has approved it. So it's something that you know is very credible. Lastly, the Texas Education Agency website. That's a really, really neat website. That also provides information for students, teachers, and parents, and to help understand disabilities. Another thing that I tell my students to do is to include as many visuals and examples for presentation as possible. This helps us in the classroom because as learners, we tend to learn more when we see things visually. So if they can provide videos and movies, even books, pictures of books, that would help us in our research. Last minute pointers. I remind students to cover all of the requirements asked for by the teacher, and if they don't have, can't find all the answers, they have me as a resource to help them with some leads, and if I don't have the answers, they have me to be a liaison to the professor to help them find those answers. Second, I tell students that it's very important to rehearse their presentations, and I actually give them opportunities during or after class, during lab hours, to rehearse their presentations in front of maybe a small group of friends. Lastly, I encourage my students to take notes and to learn from others during their presentations. It's important because it helps us understand and document any information that we learn during the presentation, and we can pass that along to our fellow teachers as well. So that concludes my little PowerPoint on how to create a well-researched presentation. I thank you for listening, and I strongly encourage you to visit the Office of Student Success in Building D, Room 121, to ask for other courses that you may need tutoring in.